Well, good evening. I promise I won't make this too long. My adorable one-year-old nephew is chatting up a storm back there. He's ready to go outside and run, which I don't blame him. I'm not sure that Tori remembers this, but the first time I met her, we were at a youth tournament the summer before we started at Stanford, and I was scared to death to go to Stanford. I'm pretty sure admissions accidentally found my application in the good pile, and to this day, I hope they don't ever find out. It was probably supposed to be in the no pile. But I was overwhelmed by going to Stanford and overwhelmed by everything that it meant. And I met Tori at a national championship tournament, and our teams were competing in, and we were in opening ceremonies. And she was on a team with two other future teammates of ours. And I was meeting the three of them for the first time. And it's like me solo and these three other amazing athletes that are going to go to Stanford. And I'm assuming they're like perfect 1600 SAT scores and Nobel Peace Prize winners and all this stuff. And I met Tori, and she came right over to me and gave me the biggest hello and handshake and made me feel so included. And if you know the game of softball, you know that pitching is an individual thing, and we stand out there in a circle and nobody else can come inside of it, yet they call it a team game. It's weird. It's so individual, but yet it's really driven by the team, and to know that I had support of a fellow pitcher right from the get-go, not worried about competition, just excited to share our journey together. That's embodies Tori in a nutshell, and I'm so privileged to have her here today to announce me. We went through our ups and downs for sure. I remember a couple of pillows in a hotel room in Georgia after some poor performances by both of us, in which we shoved our heads into it and screamed as loud as we could. Somehow that was going to make it better, but we found our ways. And I know that I would not have been the pitcher I was if I didn't have her pushing me every day, sharing the bullpen with me every day, helping me become a better pitcher, and loving the game. I mean, Tori has a passion for the game that just exuded from her, and I was able to pick up from that. I want to steal a little bit from Matt Gentry's line, attitude. The attitude is gratitude. And I am forever thankful for everybody at Stanford that has given me the opportunity to be a part of this university. I mean, I still think that my degree isn't real, but it's on my wall, so I'm pretty sure it is. I mean, just to say you're joining a Hall of Fame with, I mean, our current inductees, Nicole Powell, I feel like I was with you at every postseason run you had. I was screaming at the TV on every layup you were making. Again, I don't know that you know this, but Jenny Claypool and I were in China as fans, decked out in red, white, and blue, cheering and screaming for you as loud as possible. Tara and Matt, I'm pretty sure every time I clicked on Go Stanford, you guys were up there winning something. A little bit daunting every time. I'm like, how can you win that many All-American awards? Isn't it one a year? To be able to like share this with you guys and have shared campus with you guys during that 4 years is phenomenal. Kyle, I think I know you because I've heard your voice on so many broadcasts, so I apologize if I feel like we're friends, because we're probably not. Congrats to all of you. So amazing. I'm humbled to be in your presence. I want to thank, first and foremost, John Rittman. He couldn't be here tonight, but he brought me into this program. He took a risk on me. I was referred to as Bambi on ice in recruiting. I was quite thin and maybe not so athletic, and he took a chance on me. And I remember him telling me halfway through the summer during recruiting, you know, I had gotten some letters on my report card that weren't Stanford quality letters. And he pretty much told me, you know, it's dim. The prognosis is dim. We're going to, you know, stay on top of you, but maybe get a good recommendation. And I filled out that application, and I sent it in, and I remember that day he called me. My parents woke me up about 8 a.m., and John was on the phone, and he said, "You're in." I'm like, what? I mean, what? A cool club? It can't be Stanford. And I was ready right there to commit and say, I'm going, and he held off, and he wanted to come down and give the spiel and tell me all the great things about Stanford. And one of them I remember is how much money a Stanford graduate makes upon graduation, and I'm still waiting for that to happen. I think I should have been an engineering or a computer science major. A little asterisk on that one. But he gave me an opportunity, and he absolutely let me flourish. And my best story about him, I was the player, the athlete at Stanford that tore my ACL on a skateboard. I know that I was mentioning Tara Vanderveer earlier because I remember seeing her in an elevator and calling me out on that. Like, you're the one that was riding around campus and blew it. Most coaches, when your All-American pitcher decides to go out at halftime of Super Bowl and ride a skateboard and steps off wrong and is done for the season, and your senior Jessica Mendoza is a 3-time All-American who's hitting for the record books, and you're out for that season. And most coaches would not be so patient. Most would be angry. And I remember him bringing me into his office and saying, things in life happen. I played a mean game of wiffle ball in the backyard, and it took out my football career. I still don't know the comparison to that these days, but he was so warm and he was so understanding, and he never wavered, and he gave me that extra year, and he gave me a chance to redeem myself. And he's just a great man. He allowed me to become the pitcher I was by letting me be me and letting me be difficult at times and high maintenance at times. So for him, I am forever thankful. Lonnie Alameda was Tori and I's pitching coach. She's killing it at Florida State right now, winning a bunch of games. But she was absolutely an inspiration for our entire pitching staff. And to this day, I still think, like, what would Lonnie do, and how can I live up to her standards? She inspired us every day. She challenged us every day. She embodied everything that Stanford was, and she really created the atmosphere for us to win. So she'll always be in the highest of regards for me. Our other assistant coach at the time was battling cancer, and I will always remember that, seeing somebody fight for their life while coaching, out there hitting fungos. Sarah Pickering, in our sophomore year, was in a fight for her life, and I'll never forget seeing somebody bald in the dugout, breathing through a special respirator because she can't get any germs, and screaming at the top of her lungs through her mask for us to score runs. That kind of grit and that kind of determination never leaves you, and I am forever grateful for them along the way. All of my teammates that I've played with, I didn't strike out everybody I faced, so somebody had to field the ball. They were fantastic behind me. Just Stanford breeds a culture of greatness, and whether you're recognized with these individual honors or not, every single one of the players I played with was by far some of the greatest people I have ever met and will ever meet, and I hold them dearly still. I would not have been on the stages I was without them. Some of them are here tonight. Tori, Liz, Kira's here somewhere. So I'm thankful for them to allow me to have this experience. I'm thankful to my family. I don't know if you heard in the video, but I lost 34 games in my career, and if anybody's ever been around me, being with me after a loss, I think Nicole said that earlier today, it's not pleasant. So my parents had to suffer through at least 34 awkward dinners after games in which I wouldn't speak for maybe a good, maybe through the appetizer, finally would speak towards the meal. They supported me every step of the way. My dad still rattles off stats that I don't even think are real, but he knows more than I know about my playing career. I want to thank my sisters for putting up with softball talk constantly. I'm sure, after 20 some odd years, you get tired of hearing softball this, softball that, this, we're going to this tournament, we're going to that tournament, but always supportive, always there when I needed them, and they're here tonight, so I appreciate that. And then I want to thank my newly extended family. I have to apologize because they have a connection to Cal. I know, I don't know how that happened in my picking. My fiance Jamie, my first Stanford experience with her, I made her go to a big game, and it was here, and she decided to wear a Cal shirt. Thought to myself, is this gonna work out? By the next year, we went to a big game again, and she wore a Stanford shirt. But she's been my support, even though she didn't get to see me play and wasn't there. She is more proud than I could ever imagine. And I'm grateful to be able to share this experience with them and to share Stanford with them and to share my love with them and hopefully maybe get a little bit of Cardinal red into their wardrobe, hopefully. But I don't want to keep you guys too long. It's time for some champagne and some food. But I just want to thank everybody that's here tonight for taking time out of their day to help celebrate all of these great athletes, to help being a part of Stanford University. I want to thank the Kimball family. They were my donors. They were my endowed scholarship. And I don't think my parents would have liked the price tag if they did not give me an opportunity to play at Stanford. What a wonderful community this is. I mean, when you tell people outside of Stanford how many donors and what the endowment is, I mean, I worked at several universities, and people's jaws drop. It's not normal to have that much support, and I think it speaks to the kind of community we are and the culture we breed and the greatness that it is this place. So I'm thankful to everybody that's part of the Buck Cardinal Club, especially the Kimball family for giving me my scholarship, and thank you all for being here tonight.